Want to get rich. Well, maybe not rich quickly, but rich, over time. Turns out real estate might just be the ticket to that.
That's right. It can be a great way to build wealth.
And today we're diving into the wisdom of someone who knows a thing or two about building wealth in real estate. Real estate mogul Barbara Corcoran.
Oh, she definitely knows her stuff.
Yeah.
From building a real estate empire to swimming with those sharks on Shark Tank, she's the real deal.
Yeah. And she's got this golden rule for real estate success that, I'll be honest, at first it sounded a little counterintuitive to me.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, she's all about being prepared to invest more upfront, to really put down some serious cash for the right property. I mean, don't most people try to get a deal, spend less?
It's about thinking strategically, about the bigger picture. Corcoran's real genius, in my view, is about strategically investing more in those properties with hidden potential, the kind of most people might just completely miss.
I see. So forget about pinching pennies. It's about seeing the potential, even if it costs a bit more upfront.
Exactly.
Okay, so how does she find these golden properties? What does she look for?
Well, Corcoran says to forget about getting caught up in that initial asking price. That's the first thing. Don't get fixated on that number.
Okay, so what do you focus on if not the price?
3 things: location, light, and what she calls potential.
Location. Right. Haven't we all heard that one before? Oh.
It's a real estate fundamental for a reason, seriously. But Corcoran, she doesn't just say it. She really means it. She emphasizes getting the absolute best location, even if you got to pay a premium.
Okay, that makes sense. But what does she actually look for in a prime location? Is it just a good neighborhood?
Corcoran is all about those micro locations, Think those little pockets within already desirable neighborhoods. So yeah, good neighborhood, but even better, a property near a park or a top-rated school. Or even better, one of those charming main streets with those cute local businesses.
I get it. So it's not just the address, it's the whole vibe of the immediate surroundings, those little details that really make a difference.
That's it. And Corcoran knows savvy buyers, they'll pay more for that lifestyle, for that community feel. And that, of course, increases the value down the line.
So you're not just buying a house, you're buying into a lifestyle.
Exactly. Now, are you ready for one of Corcoran's, shall we say, less conventional pieces of advice?
Always. Lay it on me.
Light. She's big on natural light, like really big on it. She says it's a major indicator of a property's investment potential.
Really? Light? I mean, it seems kind of basic.
You'd be surprised. Light has a huge psychological impact on how we value a space. Think about it. You walk into a bright, airy home, high ceilings, sunlight streaming through the windows. How do you feel?
Feel happy, and I can already picture myself living there.
Exactly. Now imagine the opposite. A dark, cramped space, maybe with those dingy old curtains, doesn't feel as good.
Right. Not even close.
People are drawn to light, to bright spaces. They feel bigger, more inviting, more valuable.
So a well-lit property equals higher rental income and resale value.
Bingo. You got it. Plus, Corcoran, she's big on sustainability and good natural light. Well, that reduces the need for artificial lighting, which, let's face it, can get expensive, especially these days.
That's so smart. She's always thinking a few steps ahead, isn't she? Okay, so we've got a great location, plenty of sunshine. What about this potential she keeps talking about? What's that all about?
This is where Corcoran's advice really sets her apart, in my opinion. She's all about seeing the hidden value in properties, that diamond in the rough that others just don't see.
Like a house that needs a fresh coat of paint but has great bones. Or a place with a neglected backyard that could be transformed into something amazing.
Yes, that's exactly it. Think of those fixer-uppers that need some cosmetic updates but have good structure underneath. Or a property with potential for expansion, like an unfinished basement or attic space.
So renovations, additions, that kind of thing.
Exactly. It's about being smart, though, strategic. You don't want to just start knocking down walls willy-nilly. Focus on those improvements that will get you the highest return on your investment.
So like what kind of renovations are we talking about here?
Think about it. Kitchen and bathroom remodels, those are always a good bet. And then there's updating the landscaping, putting in some new plants, giving the place some curb appeal. And of course, never underestimate the power of a fresh coat of paint.
So you're basically investing in a property's future, not just its current state. It's like she's saying, don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves and put in a little work to unlock a property's hidden value.
Exactly. It's about having that vision, seeing not just what a property is, but what it could be with a little creativity and effort.
It reminds me of those home renovation shows where they take these rundown houses and totally transform them into dream homes. Except instead of doing it for TV, Corcoran's doing it for profit.
And the best part, this approach, this ability to see potential where others only see flaws, it's not just limited to real estate.
Well, I totally agree. That kind of thinking, it's valuable in any field, whether you're an entrepreneur, an artist, whatever. Being able to spot the diamond in the rough is a superpower.
Absolutely. It's about having that entrepreneurial spirit, that willingness to take a chance and imagine the possibilities. And speaking of taking chances, Corcoran has one more piece of advice that I think is crucial: patience. She's all about the long game in real estate.
The long game. Okay, I like the sound of that already. Tell me more.
Well, this is where Corcoran's advice really goes against that whole get-rich-quick mentality that's so common these days. She's a firm believer in holding onto a property for at least 5 years, ideally longer, to really reap the rewards of her approach.
5 years. Wow, that's a pretty significant chunk of time. Why the emphasis on holding on to a property for so long?
Because real estate, like many investments, goes through cycles of growth and correction. You're going to have your ups and downs, but over the long haul.
It tends to trend upwards.
You got it. By holding on to a property for a longer period, you give it time to appreciate in value. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't just plant a seed and expect a full-grown tree the next day. You have to give it time to grow and flourish.
I like that analogy. So you're saying that buying and selling quickly, trying to time the market perfectly, that's not the Corcoran approach.
Not at all. She's all about that slow and steady growth, but weathering the storms and coming out stronger on the other side. Plus, there can be some nice tax advantages to holding onto a property long-term, but we can get into that another time.
Sounds good to me. So with Corcoran, it's all about playing the long game, being patient, and letting that investment really mature over time.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny, that same long-term approach, that willingness to wait for the right opportunity and then hold steady, it seems to be a recurring theme in Corcoran's own story. Did you know that this real estate titan, worth an estimated $100 million today, didn't exactly start out with a silver spoon in her mouth?
Oh, not at all. Her story's incredible, really. It's a testament to hard work, resilience, and a lot of that patience we were just talking about.
So how did she go from rags to riches? What's her secret?
Well, for starters, she grew up as one of 10 kids.
10 kids? Are you serious?
Yep. 10 kids, and they all lived together in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Wow. Talk about understanding the value of space. That's amazing. It sounds like she's a living example of her own advice, wouldn't you say? Building her success from the ground up.
Absolutely. She's proof that you don't need a trust fund or fancy connections to achieve your dreams. In fact, those early experiences, as challenging as they must have been, probably played a huge role in shaping her work ethic and her drive to succeed.
It makes you wonder, how did those early years growing up with 9 siblings in a 2-bedroom apartment influence her approach to business? Did those experiences teach her to see value where others didn't? Did she learn to spot those hidden opportunities? I mean, talk about resilience, right? Growing up with a big family in a small space like that, it's got to make you resourceful.
It's no coincidence, I think, that Corcoran's success story is also about seeing the potential in others, not just in properties. She learned that early on, growing up in that environment.
You mean like with your siblings? Sharing a room, you got to learn to see the best in each other, right?
Exactly. And it goes beyond just getting along, though. Corcoran actually talks a lot about how her mother had this incredible ability to spot the unique talent in each of her kids, to see what made them special, you know?
Sounds like her mom was a bit of a visionary herself, seeing the potential in each of her kids, encouraging them to develop their gifts.
Right. And Corcoran, she really took that to heart, not just in her personal life, but also in how she built her business.
You mean she didn't hire a bunch of, like, clones of herself? She actually looked for people who were different, who had strengths that she maybe didn't have?
Exactly. She wanted a diverse team, people who could bring different skills and perspectives to the table. And that's how she built such a strong company. Remember what we were talking about earlier about spotting the diamond in the rough?
You mean like seeing the potential in those fixer-upper properties?
It's the same principle, but instead of a property, it's a person. She's looking for that hidden talent, that spark, and then she helps them cultivate it, helps them shine.
That's so cool. So it's like she's taking her mother's wisdom about nurturing individual gifts and applying it on a grander scale to her entire company.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. And, you know, it all comes back to her real estate philosophy, too.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, think about it. In real estate, she tells us to see beyond the obvious, right? To recognize the potential in a property that others might miss. And then in business, she's doing the same thing, but with people.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. She's all about spotting potential, whether it's in a rundown house or a future star employee.
Exactly. And that's such a valuable skill to have in any aspect of life, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. But, it's one thing to talk about seeing potential. It's another to actually act on it. So how do we do that? How do we actually put this into practice, in the real world?
Well, let's take one of her light principles as an example. Remember how we were talking about how she encourages us to really value natural light in a property?
Right. Even if it means spending a bit more.
Exactly. But it goes beyond just like south-facing windows. We can apply that same thinking to other aspects of a property that might not be as obvious.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, think about noise pollution. Imagine you're looking at two apartments. They're identical in every way. Same square footage, same finishes, everything. But one faces a busy street, lots of traffic, sirens, all that. And the other one overlooks a quiet courtyard, maybe with a little fountain, some birds singing.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going with this. One's peaceful, the other not so much.
Exactly. But that peace and quiet, that sense of tranquility, that's a form of light too. It's a valuable asset that most people probably wouldn't even think about. But someone like Barbara Corcoran, she recognizes it and she's willing to pay a premium for it.
Because she knows it adds value in the long run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what sets her apart. She's not just looking at the obvious stuff. She's thinking about those less tangible elements that really make a difference in how much a property is worth.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the money either. It's about creating a certain lifestyle, a certain feeling.
She's really thinking about the whole package.
Yes. And that's what I find so inspiring about her approach. She's not afraid to look beyond the surface, to really dig deep and find those hidden gems that other people might miss.
It reminds me of something she said once. I'm always looking for the pony in the pile of manure.
I love that.
She's not afraid to get her hands dirty, to dig through the crap, to find that hidden treasure. And you know what? I think that's a really powerful metaphor for life in general, not just real estate.
Totally. But here's the thing. It's one thing to spot the potential, right? But are you willing to take the risk to go after it?
Because there's always a risk.
Always.
Yeah.
Even someone as successful as Barbara Corcoran, she's had her fair share of setbacks and disappointments.
I'm sure she has. Nobody bats 1,000, right?
Exactly. But here's the difference. She doesn't let those setbacks stop her. She uses them as opportunities to learn and grow, to come back even stronger.
She's got that resilience, that fire in her belly.
She does. And that's something we can all learn from. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about having the courage to get back up and keep going, even when things get tough.
Yeah.
Because they will get tough,
Yeah, no doubt about that. Life's going to throw you some curveballs.
Yeah.
It's all about how you handle them. But it's one thing to admire Barbara Corcoran from afar, to be inspired by her story. It's nothing entirely to actually apply her wisdom to our own lives, right?
So true.
So how do we do that? How do we cultivate that Corcoran-esque mindset? How do we learn to spot those hidden opportunities, take calculated risks, and keep going even when we face challenges? How do we get that Corcoran magic?
Well, I think it starts with a simple but profound question. What's your gift? It's not always like, some big flashy talent. It might be something small, something you don't even really think about.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, maybe you have an eye for design. Like you walk into a room and you just instantly know how to rearrange the furniture to make it look amazing. Or maybe you're a people person,
Yeah.
You just have this knack for connecting with others, making them feel comfortable, building relationships.
Or maybe you're just like relentlessly optimistic. Like no matter what's going on, you always see the silver lining.
Yes, that's a great one. It's like we all have these little nuggets of brilliance inside us, but we often don't even realize they're there.
What?
Or we take them for granted.
And Corcoran saying, don't. Those little things, those are your superpowers. Focus on them.
Exactly. Those are the things that make you unique, that set you apart from everyone else. And instead of trying to be good at everything, she's saying, focus on your strengths. Become exceptional at those things that you naturally gravitate towards.
Okay, so you figure out your gift. What's next?
Well, you got to be willing to invest in it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't just mean money, although sometimes it does take some financial investment. But it's more about, really putting in the time and effort to develop those skills, to hone your craft.
Get even better at the things you're already good at.
Yes. And that might mean taking some classes, reading books, attending workshops, even just practicing on your own, whatever it takes to really become an expert in your field.
So you're saying even if you found your passion, you can't just coast on natural talent alone. You got to put in the work.
Right. Talent will only get you so far. It's the hard work, the dedication, the willingness to keep learning and growing. That's what really makes the difference.
And it's about taking risks too, right?
Absolutely. Because let's face it, nothing worth having comes easy. You got to be willing to put yourself out there, to step outside your comfort zone.
To embrace the unknown.
Exactly. And yes, sometimes you'll fail. It's inevitable. But the key is to not let those failures define you.
It's like we were saying earlier, it's not about avoiding failure, it's about learning from your mistakes and coming back even stronger.
Yes. And Corcoran's a great example of that. She didn't become a real estate mogul by playing it safe. She took risks, made mistakes, and learned from every experience.
And look at her now. She built an empire.
Exactly. And that's what's so inspiring about her story, right? It's like a reminder that we're all capable of achieving amazing things if we just have the courage to go after them.
So what's the takeaway here? If we want to channel our inner Barbara Corcoran, what's the first step?
I think it all comes down to this. Believe in yourself. Believe in your ability to achieve your dreams, no matter how big or small they might seem. And then go for it. Don't be afraid to take risks, to make mistakes, to learn and grow along the way. Because that's how you achieve real success, you know? It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
It's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns.
Exactly. And remember, everyone has something special to offer. Everyone has a gift.
Everyone has a pony in the manure pile, right?
Yes. Find your pony. Don't be afraid to dig deep and find it. And then once you've found it, don't let it go. Nurture it, invest in it, and watch it grow.
Love it. Find your pony. This has been a fantastic deep dive. We've talked about location, light, and potential in real estate, but also in life. And we learned that success is often about thinking long-term, embracing challenges, and never underestimating the power of perseverance.
It's about recognizing the value in those often overlooked details, the light that others might miss.
And it's about being brave, taking risks, and never giving up on your dreams.
Because you never know what you might achieve if you set your mind to it.
Barbara Corcoran is living proof of that. From sharing a 2-bedroom apartment with 9 siblings to building a real estate empire, her journey is an inspiration to us all.
She's a true testament to the power of hard work, resilience, and of course, a little bit of that Corcoran magic.
And on that note, we're going to wrap things up. We hope this deep dive has left you feeling inspired and empowered to achieve your own version of success.
And remember, whatever your goals may be, don't be afraid to dream big, work hard, and never, ever give up on yourself.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shining bright.